So, Kim Jong-un, the name is everywhere, right? We've all seen the news clips, the massive military parades, and we've definitely heard all the talk about nuclear weapons. But let's be real. Behind all that state-run propaganda, who is this guy? Who is he really?
Honestly, it's one of the biggest political mysteries out there. So that's what we're going to do in this explainer. We're going to try to peel back all those layers to get a real sense of the leader he's become. And to do that, we have to go all the way back to the start.
You see, to understand the man who rules today, you've really got to meet the boy he once was. And his story? It starts completely in the shadows. He was basically living as a phantom prince, totally hidden from the world, and his life was just full of contradictions.
I mean, just try to picture this for a second. On one side, he's this kid in some of the most elite schools in Switzerland. He's learning about Western culture, totally separated from North Korean propaganda. But then on the other side, he's got this crushing weight of his family's dynasty on his shoulders. He's being groomed to take over a nation that's literally built on a cult of personality. It's like living two completely separate lives at the same time.
But, a secret life like that can't last forever. As his father's health started to get worse, this phantom prince was just yanked out of the shadows. Suddenly, he's on the world stage, getting ready to become the sudden successor.
And the speed of his rise to power, it was just incredible. Think about it. In 2010, he's officially named the heir. By 2011, they start rolling him out at public events. And then bam, December 2011, his father dies, and he is immediately named supreme leader. We're talking about a little over a year for this complete unknown to become the absolute ruler of a country with nuclear weapons. It's just wild.
Okay, so inheriting the title, that's one thing. But actually holding on to it, that's a whole different ballgame. You've got this young, totally untested guy, surrounded by his father's powerful old-school cronies. He had to show them who was boss, and fast. And let me tell you, he did it with an absolute iron fist.
So how did he pull it off? How did he lock down his power? Well, he basically followed a simple but absolutely ruthless three-step playbook. Step 1, consolidate. He had to get his father's old guard, the party elites and the military guys on his side. Step 2, neutralize. This is where it gets dark. He purged anyone who could be a threat. We're talking reassignments and yes, even executions, including his own uncle. That sent a message, loud and clear, nobody is safe. And finally, step 3, project strength. He fired up the missile tests, pushed the nuclear program, all to scream to the world, and more importantly, to his own people, I am in charge, period.
All right, so once his power at home was locked in, Kim turned his attention to the rest of the world. And this is where we see a totally different side of his strategy emerge. He kind of transforms into this new character you could call the nuclear diplomat. First, he came out swinging as the aggressor. He put the pedal to the metal on North Korea's weapons program, fast-tracking the development of ICBMs, the long-range missiles that could, in theory, reach the United States. The message here was crystal clear. But then, just when everyone had him pegged as a pure warmonger, he does a complete 180. He becomes the diplomat. I mean, the whole world just watched, jaws on the floor, as he's holding these historic summits, shaking hands with the leaders of South Korea, China, and even the President of the United States. It was unbelievable.
So what in the world was going on? Was he an aggressor or a diplomat? Well, it's both. It's this really fascinating strategy, let's call it the dual approach. He uses the big, scary military threats to make sure the world is paying attention, right? And then, once all eyes are on him, he pivots to this high-stakes diplomacy to control the conversation. What's the result? He ends up looking stronger and tightens his control back home. It's actually pretty clever.
So when you put all these pieces together, the hidden prince, the ruthless new leader, the unpredictable diplomat, a much clearer picture of what really drives him starts to come into focus. It all boils down to one thing: the survivor's endgame.
And this is basically his leadership toolkit. These are the core methods he uses to stay in power. But the most important thing to get here is that none of this is random, not a single bit. The iron-fisted control and the brutal purges, that's to keep his power safe at home. The missile tests and all those diplomatic summits, that's to secure his place on the world stage. Every single move he makes is part of a very careful, very calculated strategy for one ultimate goal: survival.
At the end of the day, his entire story, his whole biography, can really be boiled down to just 3 words: power, secrecy, and survival. From that hidden childhood all the way to his command of one of the most secretive countries on Earth, these 3 things have been the engine driving his entire life. And that leaves us with one last question to think about. power, secrecy, and survival. Those have been the building blocks of his rule so far. But what's his ultimate legacy going to be? A modernizer? A brutal tyrant? Or is he just the ultimate survivor? The guy who managed to outplay the entire world? Well, that's a chapter that's still being written,